and welcome to the Butler Collegian DAWGCAST, a podcast series for Butler students by Butler students. I am your host, Eva Hallman. Thank you so much for tuning in on this third episode of the DAWGCAST. And the background might look a little different. I promise it's not a green screen. I am in the beautiful Holcomb Gardens here on campus. It's a beautiful fall day. The leaves, as you can see, are changing. And I just thought it would be fun to record and film a little bit and different spots of campus. So throughout the next DAWGCAST episodes that we'll have, I'm going to hopefully try and record in different spots on campus. So we're going to kick things off. We have a lot of fun segments here in this episode. We'll learn about another club on campus, hear from President Danko, and this month with the president. We're going to hear about some culture segments and a basketball preview. I know basketball season is already about to kick off, so that is exciting, and more, all here with the Butler Collegian. But first, we're going to get into our first news story. So Indianapolis had its first televised mayoral debate in 20 years. Democratic Joe Hogsett and Republican Jefferson Shreve took the debate stage on October 23rd. For 2023 municipal elections, over 620,000 people were registered to vote in Marion County, but only 13%, just under 80,000, actually submitted a ballot. That number is far lower than the average American voter turnout, which is around 66%, which has risen incrementally for 2018, 2020, and 2022 election years. News reporter Maxwell Collins recapped the debate and spoke to students about why local elections are so important. So be sure to get a paper this week and check out all of the news stories I mentioned here online at the Butler Collegian. But next, a lot has been happening recently with Butler athletics. Teams are dipping into conference play. Some teams are starting to become out of season, some in season. There's just a lot going on. So thankfully, multimedia reporter Aaron Rhodes will be giving us the latest highlights. It's the Butler Collegian Sports Report. Sending it to you, Aaron.
Welcome to the Butler Collegian Sports Report. I am multimedia reporter Aaron Rhodes. The men's golf team finished their fall season in Cincinnati at the Xavier Invitational. The team finished 7th out of 11 teams and shot 46 over par for the 54-hole tourney. The Dogs will get back into action in February for the Big East Match Play Tournament. The girls' golf team has also finished up the fall leg of their season. The Dogs finished 2nd out of 11 teams in the Dayton Invitational. Sophomore Kelly Scheck finished tied for 2nd individually. The Dogs will start up their spring season at the Bowling Green Invitational in Phoenix, Arizona. The women's volleyball team won a big game against conference foe DePaul 3-2 in their most recent game. Freshman Reese Bates led the team in kills with 4. This win brings the Dogs to 10-11 on the season and 4-6 in conference play. Their next match will be at Seton Hall on October 27th. The men's soccer team will be playing their final game of the regular season this upcoming Saturday. This Saturday is senior night and homecoming for the Dogs. This matchup will be a conference game against Akron. They are going into this matchup with a 2-7-5 record and a 1-3-3 record in conference. The women's soccer team will be looking for their first win since September 24th as they take on Creighton on Thursday, October 26th for their final regular season matchup. In their last game, the Dogs fell to Georgetown 4-2. Their homecoming matchup will start at 7 p.m. The women's swim team has had 2 meets so far this season. The team finished 2nd in the 200-yard medley relay at the UIC Invitational in Chicago. The Dogs' next Invitational will be at the University of Indianapolis. The men's and women's cross-country teams have been rolling this season. The team just hosted the Stan Lyons Invitational in Carmel. Many of the runners on the men's and women's teams did not participate in this, however. Many of the runners focused on their training as the teams have the Big East Championships on October 28th. Over on the gridiron, the Bulldogs football team has gone on a recent 2-game skid. They lost their last 2 in tough games against St. Thomas and Davidson. However, the team bounced back and killed that losing streak with a big 37-10 win against Dayton this past weekend. This was the Dogs' first win at Dayton in 10 years. The Dogs were led by quarterback Brett Bushka, who threw 18 completions for 2 TDs and 191 yards. The Bulldogs will be back in action this weekend at the Selleck Bowl for homecoming. This has been the Butler Collegian Sports Report with multimedia reporter Aaron Rhodes. Back to you, Eva.
Thank you, Aaron. And to stay up to date on all things Butler athletics, check out the Butler Collegian Sports section or the multimedia section. Look online at the Butler Collegian website or on our YouTube channel. We will tune in with sports editor Sarah Hohman later on in the DAWGCAST for a Butler men's and women's basketball preview. They have about 12 stories coming out this issue, so definitely something that you're going to want to tune in for later. Our next segment, however, has been a reoccurring one in the DAWGCAST, and I'm so excited to see multimedia reporters pick up and kind of want to interview different clubs on campus. So this is Club Chat, where we get to know various clubs and organizations on campus, and multimedia reporter Kayla Campbell danced along with a dance club to learn more about their organization.
Welcome back to another episode of Club Chat. I'm Kayla Campbell, and today I'm here with Dance Club President.
Hi, I'm Jillian Haggerty.
So Jillian, I didn't even know there was a dance club in itself. I thought there was just the dance team that performs at all the games and dance as a major. So why don't you start by telling us exactly what Dance Club is?
Sure. So Dance Club is a space for anybody, regardless of style or experience level, to come and share their love of dance. It's a space to choreograph, perform, and just learn more.
So even if I'm the worst dancer in the world, can I still join?
We'd love to have you.
Perfect. And can students still join and become a member?
Yes, absolutely. We are still accepting member submissions. There are no auditions required, and while our submissions for our semesterly showcase are unfortunately closed, we do workshops every Friday, and we'd love to see you there.
And tell me more about the showcase that you're talking about.
Yes. So on December 2nd in Shelton Auditorium, we put on our semesterly showcase. It features 2 shows. We have our showcase, again, as I mentioned, which features a variety of styles from jazz, lyric, K-pop, and a whole bunch of other things. It's about an hour long, and it's student choreographed. And then we have our production of Giselle.
Excellent. Well, Jillian, I've had a great time being with you and talking to you here today.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And this has been Club Chat. I'm Kayla Campbell with the Butler Collegian.
Again, thank you to Kayla and Dance Club for sharing more about this fun club on campus. You can find them on social media at butler.danceclub. Go check them out. So we're going to shift gears to another news story before getting into this month with President Danko. This article is titled "Forgotten Movies Are Remembered at Irwin Library," and it's written by news reporter Kinsley Shoemaker. Irwin Library staff has searched far and wide to uncover movies that are unavailable on streaming services, allowing students to dive into a world of cinematography. Dean of Libraries Josh Peruza hosted an event and discussed his love for unique cinematography and the needs for events like this. To read the rest about this event and some of the movies that they're showing on campus, check out Kinsley's story online at the Butler Collegian. The next segment that we have here is This Month with President Danko, where we will learn more about what is happening in C-Suite. What are the president's plans and how are they going to be implemented here on campus? For this October issue, I sat down with the president to discuss some things that are happening behind the scenes that we don't normally hear or see about. First off, President Danko recently had a Board of Trustees meeting that resulted in what he thinks is a successful future growth here at Butler.
Which have been focused very much on opportunities that exist for Butler, and also some of the challenges. There's a lot of different things we have opportunities to invest in. We happen to talk quite a bit about health sciences and opportunities that might lie there. We always tend to talk a little bit about athletics. That's been a hot topic amongst the trustees. And then the Gateway Project, which is really exciting in that we're talking about a variety of things on campus, including a student apartment village down near South Campus and a potential hotel and a whole array of things that really could lift up the campus and this neighborhood in the coming years.
It is good to know that good things are happening behind the scenes at Butler University, but some things that students might not know about is this special event that President Danko holds on Halloween. So let's hear more.
Well, I have to give credit to my wife, Bethany. She started this, I think, a couple years after we got here, so probably about 10 years ago, where it was like, hey, why don't we open our house? She made her world-famous apple cider, and maybe we had 30 or 40 students the first year. Well, I think last year we had about 300 and some that came through the house at some part of the night, and it was a great event. It was a nice enough night that we had the backyard open. We're doing it again this year. Let's pray that the weather is on our side, but really hope that students will come by, even if it's for 2 or 3 minutes, and just say hello to us.
Thank you again, President Danko, for sitting down with me to talk about some things happening behind the scenes on Butler's campus. I am definitely excited to see the growth. But speaking on Halloween, we have another Scary Tales with Belinda. I just want to first express a content warning. There's going to be conversations of drowning, talks of child death and murder, but I just want to express a verbal content warning. But Belinda sat down with Butler student Madeline de la Torre to talk about the legend of La Llorona. It is a Hispanic legend with many versions, but today we'll hear about Madeline's version and her familiar encounters with the curse of La Llorona. Take it away, Belinda.
Hello, my name is Belinda and I'm here with
Madeline de la Torre Castillo.
and today we're going to be talking about the story of La Llorona.
So La Llorona is basically a legend, like a Hispanic descent legend. Most people who are from like Hispanic families know it. It's about this woman who had kids, and there's different stories. Each Hispanic country has different stories or different versions of it. The one that I know is that her husband cheated on her and left her, and she was crying and she was in pain, and because she was in pain, she drowned her 2 children in the water, in the river. And she, the legend goes that she weeps around the river and she cries, saying "mis niños," which basically means my children. And Hispanic parents use that story to terrify children and tell them if you don't act right, La Llorona is gonna come for you. And there has been some stories that are true, that it has happened before, or they've seen signs of La Llorona, hearing her yell and screaming of pain of losing her children. But that's what it is. I've heard that she wears it in a white dress and she's always by the river. Mainly at night, you can hear her. Especially if you're a little kid, it's scary because she's gonna get you. But yeah, La Llorona, I don't know, there's different stories of it, but that's the main one that I know.
And so you've heard some personal accounts of people who have experienced La Llorona.
Yeah, so this is one of my dad's story. He said the day before his sister's wedding, they were all making food because, it's a Mexican wedding. A lot of people are gonna be going, and they were making food, and out of nowhere, it was getting late, and out of nowhere they heard crying, La Llorona crying and stuff, and they got all scared, but they didn't think much of it. The next day, when she was at the chapel getting married, there was a tower at the top of the church, and the tower fell and killed her husband and her first child. And so La Llorona is a curse. Even if she doesn't take your kids, it's a curse if you ever see or hear that. So it's very terrifying because when someone hears that, it's like, oh, something bad is gonna happen. So yeah, that's an example that my dad has told me that has happened. Yeah, so it's really scary.
So more than just a legend, it's a bad omen.
Yeah, to hear her yell and scream, it's oh, something's gonna happen, not good, yeah.
Thank you, Belinda, for another Scary Tales and getting us into the Halloween spirit. It's just around the corner. And finally, it is almost time. The men's basketball exhibition game is on homecoming. Yes, homecoming is coming up so quick for Butler students. It is on October 28th. Tune in on YouTube on the Butler Collegian's coverage of the homecoming football game and all the other events that will be happening here on campus. But with the season creeping up, that means it's time for a preview of all things Butler basketball. Sports editor Sarah Hohman has the latest for this issue.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Hohman and I'm the sports editor for the Butler Collegian. I just wanted to hop on here real quick to talk to you about issue 8, which is our basketball issue. I'm really excited, and everyone in the sports section has been working really hard this week to get interviews done and to write up these awesome stories. So I'll kind of preview what will be coming out and just the basketball season in general. So first of all, the stories we have coming out include men's and women's basketball season previews. 2 Welcome to the Teams. Welcome to the Team is a series we do where we welcome in new players to athletic teams. So this can be first years or it could be transfers. So for men's basketball, I'm writing the Welcome to the Team about Posh Alexander. So basically it's a sit-down Q&A with him. And Gia is writing a Welcome to the Team of the three first years on the women's team as well. And then we also have some Big East previews coming out for each team, and we have some bold predictions, games you don't want to miss. So we're all really excited about these stories, and as well as the season as a whole. Coming up, men's basketball has their first exhibition game on Saturday, and I will start covering them beginning then, and my assistant editor Caleb and I will be tag teaming that all season long. So you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, as well as BU Sports Writers, and that is run by Gia, and that's where you can get all updates to men's and women's basketball, and as well as what stories we produce for the week. So yes, I'm really excited for all this to come out, and I can't wait for everyone to read the stories.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and be sure to check out the sports section this week for all things Butler basketball. Also, tune in this basketball season at the Butler Collegian for more After the Buzzer. It's so excited to be able to shoot courtside, to be able to get some footage for you all online for the Butler Collegian. Well, that concludes this episode of the DAWGCAST. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Again, you can find this series on Spotify and YouTube currently. Again, also check out the Butler Collegian this week for all things sports, news, opinion, culture, and multimedia. This has been your host, Eva Hallman, Multimedia Editor, and I will see you next time.